Chapter 75, Chapter 38. Clara and Princess King first tried to approach Kalia while standing and looking somewhere, but before they could move any further, behind them came the sound of footsteps. Freya, what are you doing here? The one who called her was King Leonida. He is currently together with the principal and the teachers. Father? I was just curious about the light before. And what are you doing here? Princess Freya was shocked when suddenly called from behind. The princesses and Clara bowed their heads in front of the king Leonida and Merlik. I stopped his words when he saw Kalia, who was surrounded by glowing butterflies. She is like a transcendent being that humans can touch. Even King Leonida was fascinated by her. What happened to her? Looks like something happened that changed her mood. Marlik, who knew Kalia since childhood better than his heart, since she is an old friend's daughter, he considered Kalia like his daughter. Father, what are you doing? I will tell this to Mother. Princess Freya was angry because not only her prince was taken, even her father was fascinated by her. This thing. She could only grit her teeth looking at Kalia, who seemed not to have noticed her presence. I was just kidding. Don't tell your mother. By the way, who is that woman, Merlik? King Leonida asked Merlik curiously. She is the one of the teachers at the academy. I chose her name is Kalia. She is an elf, Merlik answered honestly. Elf? After decades, I've only seen an elf again, but from any point of view, she is superior to the other elf. King Leonida nodded slightly due to the isolation of the elfin kingdom. Elf was never again seen in human territory. Father, Princess Freya was annoyed to see her father still staring at Kalia. King Leonida just laughed, embarrassed to see his daughter yelling at him. Not long after that, the other teachers and students came. King Leonida and Princess walked up to Kalia and wanted to ask about what happened earlier. When Kalia finally noticed their arrival, she turned and looked at them coldly. What are you doing here? Kalia asked nonchalantly. She already knew someone would come here, but didn't expect someone else as strong as Merlik to come with them. What's going on here? Merlik stepped forward from the group and asked her. Nothing, just a change in the forest environment and the birth of new creatures. Kalia pointed at the glowing butterflies around her. You're right, I've never seen such creatures before. King Leonida suddenly entered the conversation. You? Kalia doesn't know the person who is talking. What she knows is that he is as strong as Merlik. I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Leonida Aurelia. I am the current king of the Aurelia kingdom. He smiled broadly and introduced himself in a gentle voice to her. It was the sound of gritting teeth from the direction of the princesses. My name is Kalia. I am an academy teacher, she replied nonchalantly. Oh, nice to meet you, Miss Kalia. I'm glad the students in academy are taught by you. King Leonida praised her while continuing to put a smile on his face, but the reply from Kalia was only a small nod. The students who came to see the light course stood behind them, and they saw the conversation going on between King Leonida and Kalia. Flavio and several other male teachers who were also interested in Kalia had gloomy faces. Let's all go back. It's just an ordinary natural phenomenon. More like ordered the teachers who were silent behind them. Miss Kalia, I hope we can meet again. King Leonida saw Kalia first and left the place with others, but there was some people still there. Freya, let's go back too. Princess Aisha pulled Princess Freya's hand, who was looking at Kalia. You come back first. There's something I want to do. She walked over to Kalia. The princess and Clara just kept quiet and saw what Princess Freya would do. What are you doing? Why are you still here? Kalia looked at princesses who still haven't left their place, and Princess Freya glared at her. Where is he going? Princess Freya ignored Kalia's question, asked what she most wanted to know. He? Who is Freya referring to? Princess Aisha, who was not far from her, could hear their conversation, as well as other princesses and Clara. What do you mean? Kalia tilted her head and Princess Freya's words. Stop pretending. I know he did that before. Princess Freya is annoyed to see her pretending and starts to raise her voice. Kalia waited, widened her eyes in shock. She thought that Princess Freya seemed to know Zeal very well. Then she accidentally smiled. That is none of your business. She calmly responded to Princess Freya. That's my business. How many times have I told you it's all my business? Princess Freya shouted at Kalia. The princess and Clara, who witnesses, were dumbfounded. They used to see Princess Freya, who was gentle and graceful, especially Princess Aisha, who was their childhood friend. What are they talking about? Princess Rihanna was secretly curious about the person they're talking about. What exactly is Princess Freya referring to? Princess Rini voiced her curiosity and asked Princess Aisha. Elsie did not know. She didn't know anything about either. Meanwhile, Kalia narrowed her eyes at Princess Kriya's words. Is that how you talk to teachers at the academy? Kalia asked her coldly. So how should I talk to you? Princess Freya asked provocatively. Go. I have to rest because tomorrow I have to teach. Kalia ignored her and walked back to her mansion. Wait! Princess Freya still has many things she wants to ask. But Kalia has already disappeared from her sight. I'll ask her later. Let's go home. It's almost late. She walked out of the forest. The princesses and Clara, who saw it, were confused by Princess Freya's behavior and curious about the person she was talking about, but they keep it in their hearts. The next day, at the Sky Dome, the Enter-Class D students walked towards the Golden Tower and the Silver Tower. For a night, they could go to Golden Tower and the Silver Tower for a night. They will go to the Golden Tower while the mage will go to the Silver Tower. The one who was training them in the Golden Tower right now was the one who had been the referee in the previous inter-class combat practice, Edgard Galantin, while the Silver Tower was trained by a magic king named Asher Chasfia. The combat training they did there was not the same as during the combat training between classes. Here the mage will fight with the mage and so will the knights. They will be specially trained by people who are experts in their fields so that they can fight efficiently according to their job. When it's time to rest during the day, currently Zeal is in the cafeteria with Clara and Princesses Irish. He does serve tea to both of them, then sat down on his chair. Ken, where have you been these days? I can't find you anywhere, Clara asked Zeal, who had just sat down. Her face looked worried and looked like she has a lot of questions for him. After class, I usually go straight to sleep or relax by the lake behind the Black Tower. I'm sorry for worrying you, lady. Zeal lowered his head to her. I was just worried if something happened to you. Clara breathed a sigh of relief after hearing that Zeal was fine. Yes, my lady. Have you ordered your food? Zeal tried to divert the conversation so that the atmosphere around them was not gloomy. Yes, I ordered. It was Irish. Oh, did you see what happened last night? Clara suddenly became excited when she said her last sentence. Princess Irish just smiled and shook her head, looking at it. Zeal narrowed his eyes. At it, her face was pale, and a lot of mana was leaking from her body. The magic tool she used seemed to have reached its limits. What's the matter? Just as Zeal was about to ask, a voice from behind interrupted him. Can we eat here too? Princess Freya and Princess Aisha came with her food. Of course. Please. Clara smiled and shifted her seat close to Princess Irish. Princess Freya wanted to sit near Zeal, but was pulled first by Princess Aisha. It wasn't long before Princess Rainy and Princess Rainy joined them. The girls who gathered at one table certainly attracted the attention of other students, especially male students. What are you talking about? Princess Freya asked Clara and Princess Irish. Ah? We were talking about what happened last night. Princess Irish explained it to her. According to Miss Kalia, it's just natural phenomenon, so there's nothing to worry about. Princess Rennie joined in on the conversation. Oh, is that so? Princess Freya chuckled and glanced at Zeal who was sipping his tea. As their chat continued, suddenly a voice interrupted them. Can we sit here too? The one who spoke was Beatrix, and the other teachers followed them behind her. Of course. Princess Rainy answered her. Since the table isn't that big, Clara intended to move next to Zeal. Miss Kalia, please sit here. Flavio, the homeroom teacher of Class C, showed the seat next to him, but Kalia ignored him and chose to sit next to Zeal. Flavio smiled bitterly, seeing it. All the homeroom teachers from 7 classes were present at the table. The people sitting there had a high status. Only Zeal looks out of place. Apparently you all gathered here. A deep and dignified voice rang out from the cafeteria entrance and caught their attention.